Lakoboro 809, Papa's House of Game, and all the other wonderful drivers that have come through and said hi and put in the grind. Now, if you look here, you can see all of our drivers that will be participating in this league. And I should also throw out to everybody that this is not an elimination race. This is only qualifying for placements in the splits. As you'll see here, elimination round 1 will start next week, where the bottom 4 will be eliminated, and then on the 18th, we will on to elimination round 2, where the bottom 5 will be eliminated. And then on the 25th of August, there will be the finals. Now, this is interesting because it will be a winner-takes-all event. So be sure to stay tuned and don't miss a race.
So it's all about getting into those finals, and once you're there, you got the chance to win it.
Oh yeah, you could have had some races that were stellar, some that were less than stellar. The only thing that matters is how you do in the finals. Now, if you see on your screen, this is the list of everybody that will be streaming and or have a VOD after this qualifying session. Feel free to go and check them out or even give them a subscribe. And if you do go tune in, please be sure to keep this stream open as well so you can make sure you don't miss any of the other action going on in this qualifying session. Now, we've got a very stacked lobby so far. Let's take a look at how everybody's doing. This is also free run, I should throw out. So the times you see right now are not what will be recorded for everybody's qualifying times. This is just everybody getting familiar with the track, getting warmed up, shaking off that last bit of run. Our current fastest lap is held by Chief Apollo 11 at a 2:01.407. That is a scary time.
Very quick time. He's going to hope to keep that once we enter into the qualifying.
Absolutely. I've seen times ranging from 2:01.4 even as low as 2:01.1. There's definitely a 2-minute time in here or below.
That's incredible. Toon, I jumped into your lobby you had yesterday, and I believe the quickest I was able to get around here was about a 2:04. So it's really impressive that these guys are getting even below that, and I don't know how they're doing it.
They definitely make it look easy. I could not do this in my wildest dreams. Now, qualifying proper will start in about 5 minutes. One thing to also note, unlike normal Gran Turismo races, is there is no ghosting. So everybody has to drive. None at all. You have to drive very carefully. One wrong move could not only cost your lap time, but the lap time of your fellow competitors. And I don't think anybody wants to be that guy.
No, I think we've all seen in F1 when that guy crashes, everybody's upset.
Yeah, it really adds to the pressure when you really think about it, because you not only have to worry about your line, you have to worry about everybody else's line. And it's not like in Daily Race B where if you brake really hard coming into the S's and everything, they'll more than likely ghost. You have to think at least 2 steps ahead, and it's going to be amazing to see how everybody goes about that. It was also very amazing to see how everybody was in the lobbies going on, sharing how they're doing their brake balances, sharing their shifting points, just giving little bits of information on how they're going to run it. And honestly, between the shift points and the brake balance settings, it's really going to showcase the difference that slight change in strategy can have on your lap times.
Absolutely. I think it's really cool, like you were just saying. I'm pretty new to the Gran Turismo streaming online community, but how willing everybody is to share, their experience and what works for them to help you do better is really cool. And it's fun to see that, even though this is a competitive league with with money on the line, everybody's willing to help each other out and make it a really great experience for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of it being with money on the line, I should also throw out that this league is entirely community funded. So donations, super chats, super stickers, anything of the sort immediately goes back into the racers' prize pool and therefore will help increase payouts for everybody that does compete.
That's awesome.
Let's take a look how and oh, I'm sorry. Let's see how MK's faring coming into Murray's corner.
Oh, we just had a spin. I'm sorry. Shaggy Doo just had a tangle.
Oh,
he's back in the pits now. I didn't see who he tangled with, but he ended up with a penalty and the other person facing the other direction that was coming down the hill. It is, I mean, it's right there. And without the ghosting, if you got somebody right there by you, you make one wrong turn and both y'all's laps are ruined. And, you know, qualifying is all about being on the limit the entire lap. In a track like this with walls and grass and gravel every which way, you really can't afford to push it over the limit.
And now, if you take a look at the in-game chat, you saw an apology made, and that is very good to see because it showcases proper sportsmanship. You make a mistake, you apologize, and you carry on about your race. And I hope that we will continue seeing that level of top-tier sportsmanship. Now, it is time to finally get qualifying proper underway.
We've been waiting for this all week. Here we go.
We have a nice stack of 14 qualifying racers, and I think they've probably been waiting for this day with more anticipation than we have, honestly.
Oh, definitely. It's been talked about all over Discord and multiple streams that I've checked out. Everybody's been talking about getting ready for this this event at the Naughty Racing League.
Oh, I'm just getting word from production that we have a $10 super chat from Dave's Not Here. Thank you so very much for the support for this league. It is very much appreciated.
Dave's not here. Has anybody seen Dave? Has anybody seen Dave?
I don't know.
We are very appreciative of the super chat, Dave. Hopefully you can stick around.
Yep, otherwise we'll have to go to the old school milk cartons. Don't think anybody wants that.
Nobody.
All right, let's take a look at Chief Apollo here. He is coming in fourth gear. Will he be lifting? No, he is holding that. Oh, slight lift.
Slight lift. He's got somebody right behind him.
Ooh. Ooh. He's got GLK Sneaky on his tail. These two have been tearing it up the past few days. And I really can't wait to see. I really can't wait to see how they go about it.
Does Sneaky want to get by and be the first to set his lap, or is he going to back off a little bit and let Chief Apollo run without anybody on his tail?
Honestly, I think the smart move would probably be just to ride the slipstream for the Concord Straight just a tail longer. Will he be doing that? Will he be giving a bump draft?
There he goes.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's backed out of it. So space is being given.
Yeah, you do not want to be in the dirty air here. That can cause more carnage than normal. Coming down into Murray's corner at about 2 minutes.
They're actually all lined up pretty tightly all the way back to Corridor there, and P6 is just starting their lap.
Now let's see how Sneaky goes about using the possible slipstream of Apollo. Is he going to just let him breathe, run his lap? Or is Sneaky going to just keep a small distance and then overtake at his earliest convenience? My word, I'm getting word from production. We are getting a lot of super chats right now. Let's take a look here. Horn of Plenty, Dominic Racer, Moose Racing 21, and Titanium Matches. My lord, you guys are amazing. On behalf of everybody in the Naughty Racing League, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Looks like Chief is starting the descent down the hill into Falcon Turn. It's all about getting a good exit here, as we were talking about. This final sector, you can make it or break it with that exit, getting maximum speed down this straight.
Oh, absolutely. Between the Concord Straight and the Chase, you can either have up to half a second of time cut off your lap, or you could lose that entire half second you had. It's all about how you go about this and into the last corner.
And this last corner, it has caught me out so many times. Let's see how Chief Apollo handles it.
Keeps it in second, holds it nicely, rolls
very
on the
nice
throttle.
On the curb.
Oh, beautiful work.
Oh,
and
wow.
He has set the bar high with a 2:01.343.
Wow. Oh,
Sneaky's falling back. What happened here? Let's see here.
So now leading the pack is Twitch Hawko.
If I had to make a guess, I think he got stuck in a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, it appears that way. They were stacked pretty tightly. At least 6 back from behind Sneaky at the start of that flying lap. Ooh.
It.
There we go. Getting out of the way, though. That's good.
Oh, beautiful.
Remember, no ghosting. So when you make a mistake, you got to be thinking about everybody around you. And there's a half-second penalty. Wow.
That is a track limits penalty that I will wholeheartedly disagree with.
Interesting.
Everything seemed cut and dry. I just don't understand it.
You know, and you don't see a lot of track limits on this track because of the walls kind of keep you in check, but there are a couple spots where you can get over the white lines and get yourself a half-second penalty.
Yeah, just like Sneaky's run into the dipper back there. If you're even slightly further over than he was, you can catch a whole second penalty.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely nothing to sneeze at, and that 1 second penalty could cost you what, 2.5 seconds off your total lap time?
Absolutely. Yeah, the penalties here are really brutal happening on that straight where it's all about carrying as much speed as you can.
Now jumping over to Jimmy K9, coming down through the S's into the dipper. Let's see how he's going to handle everything. Oh, my apologies. He was already past the dipper.
Now, I will say I was just watching Hawko here, and he just set a 2:01.474, so just off of Chief Apollo.
This is definitely going to be very close. Now
Jimmy's up 5/100ths of a second.
Fantastic. Coming into the chase. Good run. You definitely don't want to have your tires touching even the slightest bit of grass on the chase. Otherwise, you're going to be gliding off into the sand pits, and that can definitely crush your spirits.
I always say, stay off the green stuff. The green stuff is bad.
Set his new best lap. That's fantastic. Jumping over to Twitch Hawko 1337. Oh, he is flying. Look at that. Beautiful use of lifting. Ran a teensy bit wide, but didn't let it stop him.
Now he's still 3/10 down, but we can see what this final sector does for him if he can get this good exit.
Well, that exit from the Dipper, I expect nothing but a fantastic run.
There you go, full throttle early.
It's
just
interesting.
Flat out for a while.
It seems every driver's also taking a different apex. Some are having an early one, some are taking a later one just to err on the side of caution.
Yeah, and you usually see that, you know, when people are using different cars, but since we're all using the same AMG, it's interesting that different lines are being taken.
Oh, absolutely. It's even better to see how much even the slightest change in strategy or driving line can either positively or negatively impact your performance. And I mean, you see people in like your daily race time trials up at the top, all usually running the same or like one or two similar cars, but those are outliers. When you really look at like a community league, you can definitely pick up different nuances in the drivers, because we have drivers with different driver ratings, sportsman ratings, even input methods for racing. I know there's a couple that are running on controllers, be it with motion controls or doing automatic transition, or take Chief Apollo for example. He's running with multiple assists on, and that's perfectly okay. It doesn't make you any worse, better of a driver. It is there to help you. That is why it is an assist.
Absolutely.
He's able to set a 201 343 with counter steer and active stability management on. It just begs the question, what else can you do with these assists or without the assists? Because judging by that time, it looks like it doesn't even affect you too much. It just helps you, and it boils down to the skill you have as a driver.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about finding what works for you. If something makes you quicker, do it. Make yourself quicker. You'll learn more, and you'll have more fun too. At the end of the day, it's a game, and we're here to have some fun. So make it fun. If you're getting frustrated the whole time, you know, turn an assist on, see how it does for you. You might like it more.
Yeah, it does not reflect you negatively for using a assist. Now, as we're coming to the halfway point for qualifying, we see that the fastest lap still hasn't budged from a 201.343. Like I said, that set the bar very high. We had a bit of a wiggle in the tail from the corridor. Now coming into the final corner, let's see how he takes this. Shifts down to first. Ooh. Shifts down to first to get a little extra car roll, and then right back up to second. Interesting. Set a new fastest lap at a 204.001. Now coming over to Papa's house again, coming into the last corner himself. Also shifts down into first and into second. Hammers on that throttle. Ooh, little bit of a wiggle. That'll cost a teensy bit of time. But still setting a new fastest lap.
Very solid time.
203.460. That's respectable.
Very nice. Now, I'm going to try not to fanboy out too hard, but I do subscribe and watch Papa's House of Games quite regularly. So, big fan of Papa. Not trying to show any bias, but I do need to disclose that.
Hey, listen, it is our job as commentators to call this straight down the middle. So, I trust your judgment, my friend.
Right on. And he is streaming this right now, so if y'all want to check out his stream, go for it. But remember to leave us on. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
A teensy bit of a ding on the wall. That's unfortunate. Hopefully it won't cost too much. Maybe only 1/100th of a second or two.
Now are we going to see a lift? Yep.
The
tiny little lift.
Of lifts.
Gets it up into 5th gear.
Gets that car
rotated. Stays off the grass.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Ooh, oh no, that was a late break. I think that may have done more harm than good.
He's got some traffic, a slower car ahead of him.
He does have a back marker indeed. Let's see how the back marker will treat this.
Takes a wider line, late apex, or early apex, wider line.
Yep, there is pros and cons to every sort of driving style. Oh, look at this. We have a new leader. Twitch Hako 1337 with a 2-minute 994.
Wow.
That is mind-bogglingly quick.
We are in the 2 minutes.
This just goes to show that anything can happen. Now Papa's House again, coming into the last straight before the final corner. Good break, braking a little early as to not run an incident. Ooh, he is getting up there. Braking early. I wonder if Papa's...
all out of shape, Nicky Hunt.
Oh, wow.
Papa's...
Oh, no. Papa's off.
He went right into the back of him coming out of the turn.
Flashing the headlights, possibly in frustration. Then I don't blame him. That would be very frustrating to have happen to me as well. All right. Oh, let's check in on Salamander, whose fastest lap is currently a 2:03.392. Holding it flat, lifting, and back on the throttle. Oh, even shifted down to fourth. That's interesting. Ooh, right. Just delicately feathering that braking.
Very smooth through there.
Just
very smooth.
Danced around the dipper. Beautiful stuff.
He got his inside tire so close to the line on each apex. That was beautiful.
That definitely shows who's had some practice on this track over the last couple days. And I mean, to be fair, everybody has had practice on this track, but some have been blessed with just a little extra time as opposed to others. But that doesn't mean that they instantly have an edge.
And you know, with Daily Race B being here at Mount Panorama as well, I was thinking it was going to be pretty advantageous to have a whole week of running this race. But when I got on to do the time trial here yesterday on the soft tires opposed to the hard, I found it a lot different from Daily Race B. So just because we've been running it all week in the dailies doesn't mean it's the same beast here on the soft tires.
Oh, absolutely, especially because with Daily Race B, you're able to use whatever car you're most comfortable with, and you're also on the hard compound of tires, which means you technically have less grip and a slower lap time. So not only are you having to learn a brand new car in most cases with this lobby, but you're also having to adjust your racing line, your brake markers, your acceleration markers, all accordingly as to make sure you can capitalize on as much time as you can get. Now Jimmy over here coming down into the final corner. Let's see how this goes. Coming down to first, up into second. That seems to be a popular strategy right now with our competitors. And across the line with a new fastest lap of 2:06.276. Very nice.
So now he's become a bit of a back marker there for who's that in P5?
For Stubbs?
Stubbs, yeah.
Yep, I do hope that the back markers will have some situational awareness and give up the line if necessary to those that are about to come past them. I would hate to see our competitors lose out on precious lap time and placement points just because of a debacle with a back marker. But speaking of placement points, let's get into that, shall we? So for the top 7 times for this qualifier, they will get 5 placement points. The following 8 will get 3 placement points. And unfortunately, because not everybody can be winners in this competition, the bottom 8 will get 0 placement points.
No points for you.
Unfortunately, that is the case. You hate to see it, but as they say, them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks.
And speaking of the breaks, Stubbs is...
Ooh.
Oh, that is interesting. I'm sorry, Stubbs. I'll finish that thought later. Arrow's got a half-second penalty for track limits.
Oh my goodness, that couldn't have come at a worse time.
Oh no, absolutely not. It seems like PD is just very good at hitting you when you're down.
They really are. It's what they're best at.
Oh, that put a second behind. But it's okay. There's still plenty of time left in this qualifying to make sure. According to production, I am wrong. There's only 2 minutes to the checkered flag, which means this next lap for all of our competitors is make or break. I hope that they will be able. Oh yeah, absolutely. I just hope they'll be able to rise under this pressure and not possibly crumble.
If it was me out there, I'd definitely be crumbling.
Oh, absolutely. Some people are just built different than us. This is why they're competing. Now, back to Stubbs. Going down the mountain, I saw some magnificent braking from Stubbs to maintain speed, but also make sure to not be caught in that dirty air. Now let's see if on this final lap that Stubbs can hopefully get around this back marker that seems to be slowing him up. Now, to no fault of the back marker themselves, they're trying to run their line and set their times.
Ooh.
Oh no! Stubbs has binned it!
He took too much curb, too much apex. Ooh.
Very good sportsmanship on Stubbs.
Arrow's up almost a second.
To the pit. Really now? Let's
so that didn't seem to mess Arrow up too bad at all. He's up 9/10 coming down the hill. See if he can get a good exit here. Get on the throttle nice and a little bit of a wiggle.
I don't think this is gonna slow Arrow down too much. Coming across into the third time check with a 1:33.903. Very good.
Very nice.
Did not let it slow him up too bad. Oh, a little bit of clip on the grass.
See how close to 203 he can get. Ooh.
Thank goodness for traction control. All right, coming into the final corner, taking it all the way in second. Interesting. Preferring the stability over the speed. I like it.
And he does keep it in the 203s. Wow.
Knocked almost a second off his fastest lap. That's amazing. All right, coming into the final lap. Let's see how everybody does. Salamander holding a nice line, rolling on that throttle beautifully. Revving it out and shifting. Respectable strategy. Let's see what the time's looking like in this third time check. 1:33.765, only 300 slower than his best, but that's perfectly okay because there is time to be made in this section of the track. Ooh, waiting with bated breath here. Ooh. Let's see if Salamander is able to shave off any time in arguably one of the trickiest sectors of this track. At least from a time perspective.
From a time perspective, because you'd think it'd be on the mountain with all the twisty turnies, but it really is that final sector. Wow, that was a great time by Salamander.
Salamander was able to shave off that time and knock off 900ths, almost a full tenth of his lap time. That's amazing to see.
Oof, so
Jay
close.
Smith coming 2/10 slower, but that's okay. At the end of the day, the most important thing about this is all of our competitors are having a great time.
That is right, and this is not an elimination round. Everyone will go on to the round next week. And I was watching earlier when Sneaky finished his final lap, and he just couldn't quite. He was close, but couldn't quite improve his time.
Coming into the last competitor to come across the finish line. Revving it out into third. Revving it out into fourth with a 2:07.177. Not an ideal final lap, but that's perfectly okay. Now moving over to Hako, having a nice pace. This is the gentleman that set the fastest lap and maintained the fastest lap for the entirety of this qualifier. at a very, very impressive 2 minutes 994. That is definitely a time and a driver to keep your eye on.
It really is. I mean, that is an incredible time. First qualifying of the evening, and I mean, they set the bar high.
They did. I don't think there's going to be a dull moment at all for the entirety of this league.
No. Based on the practicing we've watched leading up to this, it's going to be so tight, so competitive. Really looking forward to how the rest of the evening and the rest of the league shapes out.
You can Now let's take a look at the standings so far. After round one, we are sitting at number one with Twitch Hako, 2 minutes 994. Coming in a very, very close second, under a half-second difference. GLK Sneaky with a 201.324. Followed by Chief Apollo 11 at a 201.343. That is a photo finish for times right there.
Wow.
Following them up off the podium is GSR Shaggy Doo at a 202.044, a very, very respectable time. Rounding off the top five is Salamander MN with a 202.839. There is definitely not a lacking time anywhere in this lobby, even all the way down to Nikki Hunt at a 206.288. These are all very incredible times by even more incredible and talented drivers.
And Toon, I'd like to point out that Shaggy Doo, with that time of 202.044, is doing so on a controller.
Oh,
so those
absolutely.
are some pretty quick thumbs he has.
Oh, without a doubt. This just also goes to show that it does not matter your assist, your driving input. You can still be an amazing driver whether you have a pre-owned PS4 controller from GameStop for like $30 or a $6,000 sim rig. At the end of the day, it boils down to you and your driving abilities. Don't let anything stop you from achieving greatness.
Absolutely.
Now let's jump back over to the lobby and see who we've got so far. We have Speed Racer, Fernando Button, Root, Art Vandalay, and we've got another one joining in. Who will it be? We wait with anticipation. It is Jimmy K9. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, TCase, but wasn't Jimmy just in the last qualifier?
Yes, he was. I believe we watched a few of his laps, so he's going to need to vacate the lobby to make room for everybody else.
Unfortunately, Jimmy, we can't allow extra trial runs. We have to ask you politely to vacate the premises. But don't worry, you've still got plenty of racing ahead of you.
Absolutely, and that's a reminder to everyone that this is not an elimination round. This is purely for qualifying, and they will all be participating in the first elimination round next Friday.
Rating points between this fine league and daily races as we jump into the perspective camera of one Art of Vandalay. It also goes to show that because DR and SR are not affected due to this being a community league, I feel there's that pressure slightly alleviated off of our competitors because they don't have to worry about their sportsman's rating or their driver ratings taking a plummet. And there's also that peace of mind knowing that all of your competitors know what they should be doing. They know they should be racing cleanly. They should be showcasing fine sportsmanship. And most of all, having fun.
Absolutely.
Because if you just focus on the prize pool at the end, then it takes away the fun, and it can definitely cause some individuals to take less than clean actions to try and secure themselves a top spot. You definitely do not want to be blinded by greed. We're all here to have fun and support each other and just have a great time. Now,
and as we look,
my apologies.
I was going to say, as we look at the schedule, we know that the final race is winner take all. So it's really about getting to that last race, making it through the elimination round, and making it to that final race, so that anybody in that race can take home the prize. And I would love to see one of these, maybe a lower ranked driver going in there and really battling for the final prize there at the end.
Ooh, a lower DR driver causing an upset? That would be amazing. Now, we did have a late entry into the free practice of Sophia. Can't wait to see how they perform. I watched them go around the practice lobby I was hosting yesterday, and my goodness, their driving is a sight to behold. I saw some drifting. I saw just sending it. I cannot do it justice.
All and Sophia is on the motion control as well.
Really?
Yeah, they're on the motion control. I tuned in to their Twitch the other day just to kind of check out some of the people participating in this, and yeah, they seem to have a good handle on the car.
All right. Taking a glance over at chat. Apparently, Sophie got here just a hair too late and must unfortunately wait until the next time slot. That is a real shame. Would have loved to see you here, but that just means there's more time for you to shine in the next time slot. So don't get discouraged. Now let's see what Speed Racer's doing here. Holding it nice and flat through the top part of the mountain. Will there be... Yep, just a slight lift. Ooh, bit of a slide, a ding off the wall. That's okay. There's still plenty of time left to drive around.
Ooh, we got some traffic.
There is indeed some traffic.
Fernando Button going really slowly down the hill, trying to get out of the way, but there's nowhere to go when you're in that tight squeeze. These cars are so wide, and you don't realize how big these AMGs are. I've seen a couple of the GT3 AMGs in person, and they are monsters. So out here on this thin track, if you get stuck behind somebody in those downhill S's, there's really no way around.
Oh yeah, you have to pretty much slam 100% on the brakes and start praying. It's a brown pants moment, to be sure.
Absolutely. And nobody likes to have those.
Oh, absolutely not. Coming through the chase. Very well held. Let's see how Speed Racer does going into this final straight. Shifts up to fifth, down into fourth. All right. Ensuring doesn't hit the rev limiter. Beautifully done through the last corner. Onto the start-finish straight with a 2:06.184 as the current benchmark for fastest lap. Can't wait to see how that progresses going through free practice and qualifying.
Here comes Root across the line.
With a 2:04.187. Magnificent. I really hope with as small of a field this is for this time slot of qualifying, that these drivers will be able to push each other and also assist each other in getting a better lap time to hopefully land them even more placement points.
Yeah, if they could work together, that would be really cool to see with this small lobby. It's either everybody spread out and have your own track free and clear, or see if you can work together on those long straights and pull each other through.
Oh,
Fernando is having a hard time staying out of the way, isn't he?
Just a little bit, but to Fernando's credit, he may just be trying to race his line. Root did have a teensy bit of wiggle on the tail end. I hope that this traffic doesn't cause tensions to flare up, though. I know that dirty air will play a factor, especially with these being GT3 cars and there being a downhill portion. So I hope Root is mindful of that and is able to at least back out of that dirty air even slightly.
Ooh.
Lost of traction, but beautifully saved.
And you were talking about, you have that lack of downforce, that lack of grip, and right there the back end just got loose under braking.
It is definitely a scary thing to think about. Fernando passing over to let Root pass. Fair play to you. Well, let's see how Art's doing. Coming down.
Yep. Oh, I like that livery. That looks really nice.
Oh, yes. That caught me up for a second. Coming on to the back straight. Coming up to the third time check with a 1:35.934. A very respectable time check. And there's still plenty of time, as we've seen, to be made up coming into the chase.
Very good. Keeps it off the green.
Keeps it off the green. Holds a nice tight line for that second apex. Coming into the last turn. Does he shift down? Nope. Stays in second gear and rides it out. Opting for stability over the speed.
Interesting. Honestly, yeah, I haven't tried going it down into first there, but I bet it does give you a little bit better rotation going into that final turn.
Beautiful
that was
save.
Close.
That was a heart-pounding moment. I've seen the top split, like the creme de la creme, doing things like shifting down while at the rev limiter and all these other things to try and shave off even the tiniest bit of time. And to be fair, up in those brackets of driving and in lobbies, every thousandth does count. But
it really does.
I feel if you're focusing on that too much, it will take away some of the fun of this. Now, to their credit, they do also get paid for things like that. So how they treat it is solely dependent upon them, and everybody, of course, is going to handle that differently. Enough of that. Back to Speed Racer coming up to the third time check. We're going to be seeing a 1:33.577. 0.2 slower than their fastest lap, but that's perfectly okay. Can always shave those 0.2 off right here.
Now, this is an interesting one through the chase. I noticed they waited a little while to go into second, almost after the first apex. Then they dropped it down into second and back up into third.
Do you think that could be just personal preference, or do you think they might have just been waiting and feeling out the car to see how it was going to perform in that third gear? Nobody but the driver themselves will know.
Absolutely.
All right, coming on 0.4 slower than their fastest lap. Again, still plenty of time for everybody to get... Oh, we've got some wiggle here from Root.
Getting on that power early.
Getting on that power early, but at what cost? Root back in the pit, understandable. Try and take a breather. Art coming across the line with.
Oh, Fernando is back in the pits. Okay. They were in the wall and now we're in the pits.
Oh, good thinking. Good thinking. Fernando coming across the line with a 2:06.769. Only about 7/10 slower than their fastest lap, but plenty of time to be had. Perfectly okay. Ooh, coming in over a 10th faster than their fastest lap for that first time check. That's impressive.
And it's always tough at the beginning of the lap when you see that blue or purple differential there. You get excited and you start pushing, and sometimes that can lead to a mistake because you're up at the beginning and you want to keep that progress, but you just got to stay in the flow, keep your head calm, get through the top of the hill cleanly.
You definitely do not want tunnel vision when it comes to trying to better your lap times. And I'm
surprised we haven't seen anybody run wide there yet today. It's usually a place, and maybe that's just because they're not racing, they're just setting the quality time. Maybe it's more in the race that people tend to run wide right there.
Well, unfortunately, I cannot speak as to how the physics change between your daily races, your lobbies, your qualies, and any of that. But what I can say with certainty is these time checks are just arbitrary numbers at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a bad day racing. It happens to all of us. You may have a great day racing. But what it all boils down to is making sure you remember that these are just numbers on a screen and not complete, definite reflections of who you are as a driver. And
that is correct. But I think Art's going to want this lap to be a reflection of their driving because they're up over a second on their previous time. Let's see how they finish this lap.
Well, they did fly through that last corner. Coming in across
and we got a big
204.
improvement.
Oh, that is in
1.5 second improvement right there.
Oh, that was astounding. Now, one thing to also note is Fernando's performance here. Staying in third for the downhill portion, it's brave, I will admit that. But then again, you are on the Racing Soft compound of tires, therefore it is more grippy, so you do have the opportunity afforded to you to be a little more brave in your racing, as opposed to just hopping in daily race speed.
Absolutely, yeah, and that would make sense why we're not seeing them run wide right there. Being on that soft tire compared to the hard and race B, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Now, I'm getting word from our production that we have another super chat from Zach Boyd for $20. Shout out to McNaughty, Toon, TCase, and all who put this event together. Thank you so very much, Zach, for your support. It means the world to all of us here at the Naughty Racing League.
That is awesome. We really appreciate it.
Judging by that fastest lap time, it looks like Speed Racer is taking no prisoners right now, setting consistent 202s. And I know somewhere in there, Speed Racer has a 201 in them.
He's so close. So close to it.
Right on the cusp of it, too. One good run through the chase, one good run through that first corner could make or break it. I'm also getting word that Speed Racer's current fastest lap does put them in 5th place in the overall standings.
Oh, wow.
If they're able to continue like this, they'll just driven themselves straight into 7 or 5 placement points.
Now that's really exciting, but there's got to be a slight disappointment there, going from being the fastest in your heat, but not being the fastest overall. They're putting in a great effort here.
They are putting in an astounding effort. And you do have a point there. I would not be surprised if everybody's in here trying to take that #1 spot to, have a little bit of bragging rights and all of that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the final, it's going to be winner takes all.
Absolutely.
So I think everybody's top priority should be not to try and top the qualifiers or top the elimination races. Just make it to the final and then throw all your cards on the table. As we come to the third time check, seems like Speed Racer set another purple about a tenth faster. So
we might be getting in that 201.
Oh yeah, if Speed Racer nails this, they'll have a 201 for certain.
And it'll be interesting to see, because I know some people, myself included, are not great time trial qualifiers, but in a race tend to improve. So it'll be interesting to see as he crosses the line here. Oh, just barely. Just barely. Wow. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, are the people who are topping this time trial qualifying, how is that going to translate into a race? Because they are two different things. Being on the limit every single turn for a single lap is a lot different than managing a race pace and surviving, you know, an entire race.
Oh, absolutely. And unfortunately, we do have individuals in this community that will treat every single race like it is a time trial and will just try and push everybody out of the way. They'll dive bomb, paying no mind to the drivers ahead of them, thinking, oh, we're going into a hard braking zone. They'll ghost. I'll be fine. But PD works in mysterious ways. I've just got word that Speed's fastest lap actually just moved them up into fourth overall. And look at this, they're setting another purple. They are out for blood, people. Ooh, a little too eager into that turn. That is heartbreaking to see, but going back into the pits.
And Root just came out of the chase and is up on his fastest lap time here as he approaches the final corner.
Really now? Let's see.
He was up 3/10. And
what's that magic number?
Almost 3/10.
Over a quarter second off.
Well, he's improving, but it seems like nobody in this run can get anywhere close to Speed Racer.
And I just got word from production that we have a super chat, $10 from Mez Racing.
All right.
For the EB drivers. Thank you, Mez.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see how Root does coming up this mountain. Will they have a tight line? Very nice line going up there.
And if you'll notice, he also uses automatic transmission. I think that has more to do with being on the controller, and shifting is a little bit trickier along with the throttle.
Oh, absolutely. But the controller players do have a slight advantage, because I myself have a G29 racing wheel. The brake pedal on that is like trying to stomp a hole in the earth sometimes. So
Indeed.
I feel controller users do have a slight advantage with their finger dexterity, being able to maintain more precise braking at times.
Absolutely. Oh,
we've got another chirp from production, and we have a $20 super chat from one of our competitors. How about that? There's a first.
You think he's betting on himself there?
You know, I think that would be a little bit egotistical, but I'm gonna go with it was pure intentions.
There we go. That's awesome. Thank you, Speed Racer.
Thank you so much for helping make this production what it is. I just got word we got another super chat from a competitor, Maskawar, for $10. Thanks, man. You're definitely not only giving us great racing, but also helping make this production the best it can be.
Ooh, Art just went into the wall coming down the hill. I
can't even begin to imagine how how slight slip-ups like this can affect the competitor's psyche. Oh, no. Art, it's okay. It is perfectly okay, Art. Just catch your breath. You still got one extra lap. There's plenty of racing to be had.
You got a nice long straight here. Shake it all out. Start one more flyer.
Oh yeah. Just take yourself a deep breath, and remember, you've still got another opportunity. Fernando coming across the line to set their last lap, I believe. Oh, Root coming in for his final lap, having a little bit of wiggle on the last part of the downhill straight. This is going to be very, very tight if he gets past the start finish. Sitting half a second off their best, but that's okay. Perfectly okay. There's, like I've said multiple times, time to be made through the chase into the final corner. And that was a beautiful line through there.
It really was. He took a lot of apex there on that first curve and then set him up beautifully for the exit.
Sometimes you get rewarded for your bravery. And
I know that curb has caught me out a couple times too, where you just get too much tire on it. We just got word that he did not make it around for his final lap, so that's it for Root.
But it was still an impressive showing nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Here comes Fernando down the mountain once again. Shifting down into first, then up to second. Nice line through that turn, onto the back straight. Oh, where are my manners? It seems we have another super chat from Arrow GT7 for $5. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Arrow. Thank you so much.
You guys definitely make this production what it is. Now let's see how Fernando does coming into this final turn. Already at a 2 minute. And on to the start-finish straight. How do you think the competitors have had to adjust their racing strategy and their brake markers given the drastic change in car and compound compared to the daily race B equivalent?
Oh, quite a bit. I mean, some of them have had to change everything. If you've been using, I don't know, the 911 or the Corvette or something, I mean, your shift points, your braking, it's all going to be different. And then, like myself, I do like to use the AMG, but when I switched from the hard to the soft tires, I had to adjust everything. There's a lot of change to happen. And then if you're a super user, I mean, when you drive a super, you have to shift 4 times more than you shift in any other car. So getting used to not shifting so quickly or not dropping all the way down, it's a big adjustment.
Without a doubt. My saving grace is I am a completely unapologetic Aston Martin simp, so I only know one car. Well, 2 technically for Group 3.
Yeah. I used that when I was getting used to Group 3 racing. I started with the Gulf Aston, and that was the one I used regularly, and that's kind of what got me up to speed and then started branching out to use other cars.
And just reflecting on our journeys through Gran Turismo 7, it makes you wonder, what was our competitors' stories coming through GT7?
Absolutely.
I wonder if they've ever taken the chance to really reflect and see how far they've come, because every single competitor here has shown nothing short of amazing driving, hiccups included.
Absolutely, and this is a new, for a lot of them, a new experience. If you've only done dailies, you know, this is completely different, doing the lobbies and then going into league racing. So just getting to this point and, you know, Fernando with the D driver rating, maybe he hasn't had the opportunity to race against some A's and some A pluses. So this also allows you to see some different driving that you wouldn't normally see in your dailies.
Oh, without a doubt. I know if I was given the opportunity to compete against our fantastic drivers, I'd be like observing even more closely than I have in my practice lobbies I've been hosting for these fine folks, because I want to learn as much as I can and also observe how much of a difference there is in everybody's driving style, and maybe incorporate different parts of it into my own driving style and see if it works and go through a trial and error stage.
Absolutely. And that's the
Standings. All right, here we go. Still sitting at number 1 is Twitch Haka 1337 with a 2 minutes and 994. Coming in second still is GLK Sneaky with a 201.324. Rounding out the podium is Chief Apollo 11 with a 201.343. Still can't get my mind around how close that is. And then jumping all the way up to 4th is Speed Racer with a 202.021. And rounding out the top 5 is GSR Shaggy Doo with the 202.044. Another dangerously close time, people.
Very close.
This is insane. And then moving all the way down to rounding out the top 10 is PHG Papa, also known as Papa's House of Games on YouTube, with a 203.460. And rounding out the back of the pack is Fernando Button with a 211. That is still a good time. Don't let yourself get discouraged. That is still an impeccable time. And I want to stress to everybody that it is still anybody's race. This is not an elimination by any means, and the elimination may have drastically different results than what you see here. We may see those at the top have a rough time and go to the back of the pack. We may see upsets. We may even see no change. The future is completely uncertain.
It sure is. It sure is. And really the only change we've seen between the first and second round is Speed Racer popping up in there.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that top
Speed
5.
Racer was absolutely taking it by storm.
It really was. And like you said, this is not elimination. This is just setting things up, getting some points going into the first elimination round next week.
Oh, what? Oh, let's see what's going on the track. We've got Lakoboro coming around, getting some warm-up laps in.
And these are just warm-ups. This is not the official qualifying yet.
That is correct. We will be sure to let everybody know when the qualifying proper is going to start. Oh, well, will you look at that? Lakoboro setting a 205. Oh, wow. Obliterated by Sophia almost immediately. This is going to be just some intense qualifying, folks.
Very intense. Coming in at under 202. Sophia putting in a great lap.
I think Sophia's going to definitely jump her way up into the top 3 without a shadow of a doubt.
This is exciting to see. We're going to have 2 people using controllers up there in that top 5 is how it's looking with Shaggy Doo and Sophia.
And as you can see, Sophia is just flying right now, making this look so easy.
It's really smooth, and I do love that Petronas AMG livery she's got.
Oh, that is a stunning livery. And
with the 44 Lewis Hamilton. Excellent.
Oh, yeah. A massive shout out to all of those in the McNaughty Discord community that this event both as their hobby, their job, or just wanting to have documentation of their performance in this event, you can't beat it.
And that's really how I got started on YouTube. Was I was just doing it so I could have recordings of everything that I was doing, so I could go back and watch my races and get better, and then it just started growing from there.
It's amazing how just happy accidents can happen, to quote Bob Ross. Now,
Absolutely.
as we get the final qualifying session underway, Sophia's doing a little bit of serpentine action to warm up those tires. Brilliant thinking.
And Lakoboro is right behind her. It'll be interesting to see if he gives her space or if they stay close throughout this entire outlap.
You know, honestly, if I were to speculate, with it just being these two talented drivers in this qualifying session, they may stand trying to show a little bit of cooperation to both get through the track as painless as possible and also put themselves high up on the standings to get those placement points.
Absolutely. They could really work together and take those top spots away.
Oh, easy. Anything can happen. Oh, Sophia having a rough start on the outlap, but that's okay. It's just the outlap.
And Lakoboro has slowed down behind her as well, and it looks like she's pulling off to let him through.
Outstanding sportsmanship. Now let's see how Lakoboro takes that. Hugs it in second. Ran a little wide, but everybody's different in their driving style.
Yeah, and we've seen that all evening long.
Oh,
everybody taking a different line.
Woo!
Clipping the grass there.
That was a bit unnerving.
Yeah,
looks like they're starting to shake that dirt off their tires. Good to get it done now.
Let's see, how much space is Sophia going to give here as they come into the final corner? Looks like she's right on them.
Ooh, I hope she's aware of that dirty air. That seems to be the case. Both get through it beautifully and without injury. Coming across the line for the outlap. Now we get the real laps underway. Ooh, Sophia running just a teensy bit wide out of hell corner.
But it didn't seem to affect her that much. She still is right on the back of them.
Oh, yeah. And it definitely does serve in both of their favors to use each other's slipstream when applicable.
Absolutely. It looks like Lakoboro isn't taking nearly as much curb.
Now, it would appear we have a question from the chat about the yellow blocks with the black chevrons in them. To those that are unaware or unfamiliar, those are the penalty lines. The game will give penalties automatically, and there's a designated area for you to serve them. Oh no!
Oh, he's off.
We've got one run off. Oh,
yes,
don't get
discouraged,
saying, mate. As I was saying, there's a designated penalty line for the penalties to be served in this game, as opposed to other racing games where they might tack it on after the race. You may have to go through the pit lane and things like that. And just to make sure there's no funny business, the game will automatically make you transparent so drivers can go through you and carry on with their race without fear of somebody trying to ruin your race because they're having a bad day.
And it's important to point out that that's the only time they will be ghosted on this qualifying time, is if they're serving a penalty. Otherwise, there is no ghosting. So if you have an incident, you got to get out of the way. Otherwise, you're messing up the person right behind you.
And I should also throw out that there are stewards that will be looking at footage during and after this broadcast, and there may be penalties to be served at a later date that may affect where our competitors start in the coming elimination rounds.
And Sophia just put down a 2:01.317 and is now letting Lakoboro go through.
Oh, too
Another
wide.
wheel to wheel for a minute. Interesting. She seems to want to be close on the back, maybe wanting to observe how they're going up the hill.
Now, interestingly enough, in the lobbies yesterday, Sophia did mention about using Slipstream to cut down her time. So this is brilliant thinking on her end.
Oh no!
Oh,
Sophia just got a half-second penalty. Track
well,
limits penalty coming up the hill. So we will get to see the penalty line being enforced here.
that we will. So those that are unfamiliar with how Gran Turismo 7 works, be sure to pay extra close attention in the next 45 seconds.
And now Lakoboro is up. Oh, and pushed it too hard.
Oh, a little eager. Sophia flying around to avoid any carnage. Great thinking.
I'm willing to guess that Lakoboro saw that purple sector time pop up and really wanted to capitalize on it and just pushed a little too hard coming down the hill.
Hey, no one can blame them for that.
There we go. Penalty served.
Game will automatically slow you down. Depending on the length of the penalty, it will slow you down for half a second, or if you've done a more egregious offense, it will slow you down even longer than that. Oh, Sophia losing grip. Oh, no, in the chase.
They're both in the gravel.
Lakoboro off too.
Oh my goodness. And they get back on the track. It's looking like a demolition derby. There we go.
All right.
And it is also with the penalties, interesting that a half a second penalty here doesn't necessarily translate to the same time as a half a second penalty on another track. Depending on where that penalty line is, really affects how much time is lost. Because on this one, you really need that long speed, long straight, high speed straight to maximize your lap time. So even losing half a second in there at full throttle really hurts you.
Oh, without a doubt, especially when you take into consideration that you can lose half a second up to maybe even a full second going through the chase at the end of that long straight. Every second matters when it comes to this track.
See if we can get through this one cleanly.
I sure hope so. I'm glad to see that they've been able to get back up, dust themselves off, and get right back into the action. Ooh, ping ponged off the wall just a teensy bit.
Absolutely. Luckily, doesn't slow you down too much in this part if you're able to just kiss it.
Oh yeah, if you're able to just barely tap that and then not sustain any mechanical damage bouncing into the next wall, it will not slow you down far as badly as it would if you were to hit it. Oh no! Cut the track limits just a bit too hard in the dipper.
Wow.
Oh, that...
Yeah.
Oh, this is definitely heartbreaking to see.
Lakoboro needs to get a clean lap in so they can put in some type of competitive lap time and get them in that top 10.
But for Lakoboro and Sophie themselves, I hope they aren't feeling too discouraged because there's still plenty of racing left to happen and plenty of opportunities to shatter these records and shoot themselves up to the top of the standings.
Oh, and Sophia can be happy even if she doesn't improve. A 2:01.3 is a very competitive lap time here if you compare it to our other rounds we've had this evening.
Oh, that's correct. I'm just getting word that it's actually the second fastest overall.
Second fastest, wow, all right.
Oh yeah. Sophia's taken no prisoners, and let's see if she's content with that or if she's smelling blood in the water.
I think she's going to be smelling some blood. She knows what time she needs to be. And as she drifts through this corner, oh my goodness, like watching Initial D up there. Wow.
That was beautiful driving.
That was very pretty. And again.
Oh, again?
Oh,
now you're just going, oh no!
All the way around. I wonder if that affected Lakoboro at all. He seemed to get through pretty cleanly.
Great reaction time from Lakoboro.
And here you can see Sophia's just pushing it. She wants that top spot, and it is pushing the limits at every chance she gets.
I mean, do you blame her?
I do not. I do not.
All of our competitors here, even those that think they've set a less than stellar time, have given an amazing initial showing of their driving abilities. And
absolutely.
Throughout this entire season, it's going to be anybody's game.
It really is. As we're doing this, no eliminations in the qualifying, and then we're going to have 2 rounds of elimination races leading up to the final, which is winner take all. So all you have to do is make it to that final round, and you have a shot of winning the whole thing.
And for those of you viewing and our competitors that are hanging out in the stream, please be sure to stay tuned after this qualifying session and after the initial break. And we will come back to you with what will be our first elimination race starting next week.
And that was a great lap from Lakoboro, 202.553.
Curse these drivers for being so dang talented. Ooh, wheel-to-wheel action.
Only 2 drivers, and yet they always end up right next to each other at the start of the lap.
Yep. Seems like one just cannot seem to shake the other. If this were an actual race, I'm sure they would both be feeling this pressure.
Absolutely. And I know it helps me out to kind of have another driver around me when I'm trying to put in a fast lap, just so you have that extra reference point.
Oh, yeah. All right, so production has pointed my attention to a question in the chat from Stefan Peter, or Petri. My apologies if I butchered your surname. Registration where? Unfortunately, registration for this season is closed, but we will be having a second season, and we will make sure that it is well known of the registration period for that when the time comes. So please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for any upcoming announcements about the McNaughty Racing League.
And we're already just in qualifying of the first season, and I'm already super pumped about the next season because Sophia and Lakoboro just flew down that mountain coming in to finish this lap, and I think Lakoboro's going to have an improvement. We'll see if Sophia has one as well.
I'm very hopeful. I am very hopeful about that, and I would not be surprised after this impressive showcase today that interest in registration for Season 2 will go up exponentially. Come this time when Season 2 rolls around, we may have double, maybe even triple the amount of competitors.
And Lakoboro just put in a 201.728. He is getting closer and closer.
Lakoboro's just cemented themselves as 4th fastest. There's been a shakeup in the standings, ladies, gents, and non-binary individuals.
A big shakeup.
Production has also just let me know that there has been another super chat by one Cole Trickle for $6.99 Canadian. Great stuff. Thank you so very much for your support. It means the world to all of us at the McNaughty Racing League.
Thank you so much, Cole.
As we get back into shifting our focus to these qualifyings, looks like Lakoboro is just held that flat out. That is brave.
They know what time they have to beat, and they know they can do it. They've been practicing. They know what they're capable of. It's just a matter of putting a lap together. And here at Mount Panorama, it's one of the hardest tracks to put a complete lap together.
Oh, without a doubt. This and the Nürburgring take the cake for the top 2 hardest tracks.
You just have so much thrown at you. You got tight, narrow faces. You got curves. You got ups and downs, long straights. It's really everything.
You've got random undulations in the track, even on the straights. There's so many different areas where you can lose traction, even if you think you're having a perfect lap. So
Absolutely.
One really does have to be on top of their game when it comes to their awareness of their car and their track.
And while there's multiple lines to take, if you're not used to that line, if you end up having to take an alternate line, you don't know where to put the throttle down because of the unevenness of this track. You could be in a little dip that spins you right round, and you're like, I get on the power every time at this spot, but because you were off by a foot, you got in that little dip and it spun you right around.
Sometimes it's not even a foot. You could be off by even a few centimeters, and you're going to be seeing the hind end of your car where your nose should be.
Absolutely.
Now coming into the second turn, Sophia just flying up there.
Taking all the curb on the exit, maximizing those track limits.
And believe me, that is absolutely fair play. You want to use every bit of this track to your advantage.
Hugging the wall on the outside to cut the apex, and boom. Going through. Are they going to stay flat out? We get a tiniest lift. So clean.
Oh, it seems we have another question in the chat, and I should be able to answer this one for you. Anybody know if first race combo will be announced tonight? Yes, it will. It will be announced right after this qualifying session, and the times have been long. Oh, what was Lakoboro doing there?
Lakoboro lost it coming down the hill.
As we said, folks, you can lose grip anywhere on this track. You have to be very careful. Sometimes you've got to contemplate whether or not you should try and send it and hope for the best, or play it safe and make up that time elsewhere. As we see Sophie come in with a purple sector, shaving 3/10 off. Will this be the 2-minute run?
This could be for first.
This could be. Very exciting to see, with a teensy bit of a drift through the chase.
We'll see if that drift helped her carry speed or if she lost some speed.
With how she's been just dancing around this track, I believe wholeheartedly that just helped. And it did. Sophia just had a 2-minute 9:12, taking the fastest spot. Oh, with the showboating park. Let's give Sophia a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was beautiful. Sophia has just staked her claim at the top of the leaderboards. Let's see how Lakoboro responds.
That's a lot of pressure on Lakoboro. That's a lot of pressure to know there's only one other person in your lobby. They just set the fastest time overall.
I would like to see if production could make a highlight of that crossing of the finish line by Sophia into that magnificent park. That was a chef's kiss moment.
So with the drift through the chase, and then she had to have known then that she had the fastest lap. Just knowing that all you have to do is get through that final corner and it's yours.
Oh, absolutely. Sophia has shown nothing but absolute mastery of car control these past couple days. And if I were the other competitors, I'd be keeping an eye out for Sophia. She is definitely here to claim the throne.
Absolutely. And Lakoboro is up on his best time.
He is indeed.
Now, this exit is crucial. That's a great exit. Got on the throttle early.
Let's see how much of a benefit that gives him as we come up to the third time check. Crossing it with a 132.435, almost half a sec faster than his previous fastest lap. Let's see if he can carry this momentum. As we approach the last 60 seconds in qualifying, Lakoboro will be able to cross the line and set one more lap time. So if this does not go to their liking, they will be able to try and make it up. Ooh, a little bit of a power slide there.
That turn, it's so easy to just get on it a little too much.
And Lakoboro just knocked over 6/10 off their previous fastest lap. Good on you, Lakoboro. Looks like Sophia's coming back onto the track to round this entire qualifying session off. It's been a beautiful showing by both of these drivers.
It really has, and not just the two of them, but everybody in this whole event has just performed really well.
Did you just see that Lakoboro was 900ths for the fastest in first sector?
And now the pressure's on.
I just got word that Lakoboro is sitting at the third fastest time overall. If he can get the purple sector for the mountain, then there is a chance Lakoboro will take the #1 spot from Sophia. And with that little bit of wiggle, and I'm hearing those tires squealing under understeer right now. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but only 500ths off his fastest lap, which means there is still time. There is still an opportunity for Lakoboro to take, if not the first spot, but the second spot in the overall standing.
It wasn't the cleanest downhill, but we don't really know how much speed they were able to carry.
Only time will tell once we get closer to the last corner.
Ooh. Now, there's still time to be made, but...
There is still time indeed, and I hope Lakoboro does not feel discouraged. Clip in the grass, all right. Lights flashing under braking, that's interesting. Coming into the last brake marker for the final turn, shifted down. Oh no, ran too wide. Oh.
It looks like a sympathy slowdown from Sophia.
It does, but it's an impressive, nay, almost. Oh, whoa! What just happened here?
Trying to do donuts on the start-finish straight. Somebody's celebrating their P1.
Oh yeah, and rightfully so when you really think about it.
Well, that was incredible. That was even though we just had 2 cars in it, that may have been the most exciting session.
Now, my concern though is that looked like it happened before the start-finish straight. Will there be just a ruling of a racing incident, or are the stewards not going to see that as lightheartedly as we did?
I hope they see it lighthearted, because clearly Lakoboro was not on a fast lap anymore. They put it into the wall. There was no chance of them improving their time. So hopefully they view it as, it's over, let's have some fun.
Yeah, I really hope they do rule it as just them mucking about. But if you would all please exercise patience one last time while we get these times logged, we will take another. race coming next week on the 18th. Now, if we look at the standings here, Sophia absolutely obliterated the previous lap that she had set and jumped her way all the way up to P1 in the current standings. Over in number 2, Twitch Hako 1337 with the 2-minute 994. That is dangerously close. I would not be surprised if Hako's even just the slightest bit of envious, maybe a little frustrated, but don't get discouraged at all. These times for everybody has been amazing. Looking at number 3 with Lakoboro coming all the way up into P3 with a 201.110. Now down into 4th, we've got GLK Sneaky with the 201.324. The top 5 is rounded out by Chief Apollo with the very, very impressive 201.343. And then Speed Racer, GSR Shaggy Doo, Salamander MN, Stubbs McStubbin, and Jay Smith all finishing out the top 10. Now, if you take a look at these times, this is all dangerously close. You can see that in the top 5, there is no more than a second between them. I believe, that's less than half a second really between them.
Less than half a second, yeah.
And then if you take into consideration P6 through P10, there is still a very close standing nonetheless. It truly is anybody's game here. Now, to do the point distributions, that also means that Sophia all the way down to GSR Shaggy Doo in P7 have just placed themselves with 5 placement points. And then from P8 all the way down to P16, we have the following 8 with 3 placement points. Very good job to you all. And then P17 and below, unfortunately, 0 placement points. But don't feel discouraged. There is still plenty of racing action to be had for everybody here. And it is, I cannot stress this enough, anybody's game. You may have a bad week, and you can come back beautifully.
It really is. And those drivers who did not set a time are not eliminated. They will be going on to the next round as well.
Now, speaking of the next round, let's take a look at what we got. That's right. On the 11th, is going to be Suzuka with 20 laps. The bottom 4 will be eliminated, and you will all be driving the Red Bull Junior X 2014. And I should throw out, this is going to be very, very dependent on your strategy because you have to use every single racing tire.
Wow, that's 3 tires. That's 2 pit stops. You're going to have to time that well. 20 laps around Suzuka is no easy feat.
Oh, Lord, no. Especially if there's other factors such as weather, you have fuel to worry about. This is going to be a real thinker. Now, to those of you in the McNaughty League that are competing, just know, shortly after this broadcast has concluded, I will have a practice lobby up for all of you to get your feet wet and get on the track. So I hope to see you there.